Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I'm Abel Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, a repeat of 2016 occurs in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda. Courts are grounded in the northwest region of the country. The lawyers were protesting today against a bill tabled in Parliament on the usage of the English and French languages in courts across the country. They saw the bill as another threat to the common law system in the country. And we'll also talk about the installation of the divisional office of Benakuma in the northwest region of the country, marked by heavy gun battles that left at least one person dead. The divisional officer was commissioned into his functions in a village deserted by the people. Courts remained closed today in Bamenda and other parts of the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The lawyers in the town of Bamenda were protesting against the bill tabled in Parliament on the use of the English and French languages in courts across the country. The lawyers saw the bill, which is said to have been withdrawn, as another threat to the common law system or the common law legal background in the northwest and southwest regions of President Paul Biya's country. We have details in this report compiled by Fomi Armstrong, or rather Smanjikan Gebre and Bustela in Bamenda.
A working day in Bamenda, northwest region. But lawyers are not in their offices or courtrooms. The lawyers are worried.
The essence of this call was that we send our disapproval to the powers that be, to Parliament, about the draft bill on languages that is tabled before Parliament. We saw the draft bill, and in its section 26, it stipulates that judgment can be delivered in courts in Cameroon in any of the two official languages. You don't need to be a lawyer to interpret. What that means is that in the common law jurisdiction, judgment can be delivered in French, and in the civil law jurisdiction, judgment can be delivered in English. That, at a blink, takes us back to 2016.
The bill, which was to be voted into law according to the common law lawyers in Bamenda, is coming at a wrong time, owing to the fact that they were expecting something different with the special status promised to the people of the northwest and southwest region after the major national dialogue.
Some people are dreaming, some people are speculating, some people are hallucinating, and in the hope that the famous special status will give some recognition to the common law, a draft bill of that nature is put in. So we say we cannot stand by and see such an affront to justice go undenounced.
As the lawyers say no to what they have termed injustice, they also heard a rumor from Yaoundé.
We are told by our colleagues in Yaoundé in Parliament that the bill has been suspended sine die. That notwithstanding, we are going to be very vigilant. We are going to be very vigilant. Vertically and horizontally, we are going to be vigilant. We are not going to be scared about the blackmails of names that they will give us. We are just doing what lawyers in any civilized society should do.
While hoping that the said bill resurfaces with better options, the common law lawyers say they will still remain vigilant.
And another strike action was also going on today in the University of Bamenda. The lecturers were protesting also against the insecurity around the campus and on the way from their homes to the campus around the town of Bambili and Bambui. Many of the teachers were denouncing the insecurity and what they consider as the indifference of the administration. Many of them go to school at the risk of being abducted, of being attacked, of being killed by persons they would hardly identify. And the strike action continues in the University of Bamenda. In the report coming up next, our reporter correspondent in Bamenda and Bustela takes us to Benakuma in the northwest region of the country, where the divisional officer of Menchum Valley was commissioned into his function amid heavy gun battles that marred the journey of the Menchum senior divisional officer and his collaborators to Benakuma and back, and the gun battles left at least one person dead and several others injured, and the divisional officer of Menchum Valley was commissioned into his functions in a village deserted by the people. This is a report.
Elements of the Defense Forces accompanying Mr. Abdullahi Aliyu, Senior Divisional Officer from Menchum, to Benakuma for state duty. Few kilometers into Benakuma, the convoy is ambushed, and for over 1 hour, elements of the Cameroon Defense Forces battle with the suspected separatist fighters as they fired at the convoy. During the shootout, another family is left bereaved as the war drags on in Anglophone Cameroon. At least 5 persons in the convoy were injured, amongst them a journalist. These exchanges between the soldiers and the fighters welcomes Mr. Formula Foncha Azise Christian, who replaces Daring Wanjo Lokumbe as Divisional Officer for Menchum Valley.
This is your Divisional Officer.
Benakuma has become a shadow of itself. The population have deserted the area. The environment has been covered by grass, and it was at the premises of the Benakuma Council that the new duo took command over the subdivision, away from the traditional grandstand venue reserved for such events.
You also witnessed the security issue by yourself. It's not easy at all, but we advise him to work hand in hand with the head of forces of law and orders, elites, traditional rulers, and religious leaders. We are also seizing this opportunity to call upon the population, many of them youths who are in bushes, to come out and to come and develop their villages.
EQUINOXE Television is informed that the duo's residence and office are among the structures that have been burnt in Benakuma and other villages. For Mr. Formula Foncha Azise Christian to better execute his duties, he will need an office and a residence if he must work and stay in his subdivision of command.
And several persons continue to be displeased by the deepening Anglophone crisis. Many of them are now living as IDPs in different parts of the 2 regions and other parts of the Republic of Cameroon, and many of them are finding it very difficult to put food on their table and of course to afford for the basic necessities. And of course in the town of Limbe, some non-governmental organizations are now striving to empower some of the IDPs so that they can survive. David Simaimo reports.
The pullovers they are putting on is not machine made. It's made locally using their hands. This is just one of the several things the internally displaced persons, IDPs, have been trained to do as a means to empower them.
I've learned many things, how to make omu, soup, to kneadings, peppers, beadings.
Don't learn how to make soap, powder soap, key soap, make woman and man become their shoe.
I've learned a lot, and I know that by the grace of God, I will make good use of it.
To the organizers, giving the IDPs bags of rice and other materials will only be temporal.
We thought that we could empower them, learn them skills, which skills will help them to set up businesses which they can sell and make money, not just begging by the roadside as others do.
The reason why we organize such training is to be able to give them some skills which will enable them carry out activities and sell their products made so that they can have money and be able to cater for their basic needs.
The IDPs based in Limbe are coming from all the four corners of the northwest and southwest regions, displaced by the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
I come from the southwest region to Southern Mountain in Batrakagwe.
Come from Bova Bomuku, Bonga subdivision for Bang Mountain.
I come from Squares.
The one-week training workshop have the IDPs trained in the production of local soap from powder to liquid, the designing of sandals, both men and women with bead, knitting of pullovers, among others, and was organized by the International Incubating Network, a non-governmental organization.
Several persons have been injured in a road accident in Bafang in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon. The accident occurred today. Smanji can give a France in details.
Another horrible day in Bafang, west region of Cameroon. An intercity bus that was transporting persons witnessed a technical fault and ran into a commercial motorcycle transporting cocoa seeds. We left Bafoussam for the market in Bafang, and at Banche roundabout, the car witnessed a brakes failure. As a result of the brakes failure, several persons were injured. Luggages of the passengers were also destroyed. Those whose items were still in good shape took time off to gather them. All of those injured were transported to the hospital in Bafang under the supervision of some security forces who descended to the scene of the incident.
Inadequate or no electric energy supply remains a major problem in the Republic of Cameroon. Inhabitants of big cities and the hinterlands are suffering as a result of this problem, and one of the localities affected is Otele, not far from Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé. There is no electric energy supply in that locality. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more.
Living in the dark in Otele, located in the central region of Cameroon, is now a daily routine faced by the population, as locals have been without electricity for over 2 months. We are suffering here in Otele. Those selling perishable products like fish have been really affected. What then are we going to be eating? The network is very poor. People come here showing us that electricity will soon be reinstated, but we have waited for several months to no avail. The council is doing nothing to remedy the situation. We are in total darkness, but they are asking us to vote. But what are we voting for? Another locality hit by the situation is Gomu in the Mefuakona subdivision. Retailers explain that dealing with perishable items is now a risky business. When I go to the market to buy fish, I get just a little quantity and conserve it in the fridge. I have no choice than to leave it in the carton so it doesn't cool fast. The population has now resorted to using other sources of energy like solar bulbs and bush lamps. For most of the students in the area, starting with bush lamps has become the only option, a means which comes along with far-reaching negative consequences on their eyes. The population of Otele and Gomo are in dire need of electricity.
And today we prepared a package on the challenges faced by persons living with disabilities. We begin in the southwest region of the country, where the persons living with disabilities of different forms have called on the population to stop stigmatizing them, to stop discriminating against them. These are some of the challenges that they are facing on a daily basis, and they were speaking on the occasion of the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities. Derek Chato reports.
They say they are not disabled, but they are differently able, and the society should give them a chance to showcase their abilities.
Everyone in every developmental program, persons with disability should not be receivers. They should be. These people who begin from the conception of the project, the elaboration, and even the evaluation process, they should be there.
Today is their day, and at the level of Boya, the southwest regional capital, these persons living with disability sent a message pleading that for the expected change to occur, nothing should be done for them without them.
It is time for people to stop thinking on behalf of persons living with disability, because we understand that we got the capacity, we got the right mindset to think for issues that concern us, and no development should be carried out in a community without persons with disability being part of the different committees to manage or see the projects or programs.
The 2019 edition of the International Day of Persons Living with Disability witnessed the effective presence of administration of the region and the civil society.
Disability is not inability. We as civil society have to keep on supporting them, working them towards at least achieving a better situation in the country.
The press conference was organized under the theme Socio-Political Crisis in the Southwest Region, a dilemma of persons with disabilities. Speaking of crisis, can we please rise up for a minute of silence in remembrance of all those departed souls as a result of this unfortunate wahala.
It was also revealed that the Ministry of Social Affairs will make funds available at the level of councils to assist persons living with disability starting next year.
All the council will be receiving at least 1.5 million for payment for disability.
But critics have it that it is all a joke, as most job opportunities announced even by the government has physical fitness as one of the qualifications, with very little attention given to persons living with disability.
Persons living with disabilities are often than not victims of discrimination. They are often denied jobs because it is generally believed that they cannot do one thing or the other. One of them in Bafang, in the west region of the country, has proven that this is wrong, and she is financially viable through some activities, including poultry farming, which she is engaged in, using the proceeds to feed her family and even to send her children to school. Inosenazi.
Handicapped Cameroonians in Bafang West Region recount the challenges they face daily during commemoration of the 2019 International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Mesdames et messieurs,
he displaces himself alone. At times, he is baptized with appellations, wizard, liar, and so on. This woman says she has faced frustrations even in the family residence.
Avec mon handicap, dans ma famille même, il y a les gens
that there are relatives who have dragged her to court over unfounded allegations.
Ils m'ont traîné devant la barre juste parce qu'ils savent que je suis une personne handicapée diminuée et que je n'ai pas de défense.
She is an orphan and was never given birth to with this disability.
Comme vous me voyez là, je ne suis pas née avec le handicap.
It was an injection that rendered her disabled.
Qui m'a rendue handicapée.
Her family accepted and educated her, though she dropped out of school at a certain level.
Je n'ai pas eu un emploi, quelque chose que je pouvais faire pour m'encadrer.
A man came into her life, gave her children before abandoning her with the keys for another woman without a disability.
Il ne peut pas faire des sorties avec moi. Il veut une femme qui peut tenir sa main pour marcher en route avec elle. Moi, je ne suis pas de ce genre. Personne ne peut admirer quelqu'un avec un handicap.
This rather revived her acting spirit to become self-employed.
À la maison, j'ai 3 porcs.
She began rearing 3 pigs and fowls to cater for her children and to face any unforeseen troubles.
Bien. Moi, je sais que je suis handicapée et que je suis seule devant mon destin. Et je peux être confrontée à une situation de maladie qui peut m'amener à dépenser.
Lack of space and capital to operate on a large scale, plus criticisms from certain persons are obstacles encountered.
L'élevage que je fais cela dans la cuisine de ma défunte mère, dans notre concession familiale.
Today, she needs bags, which she sells and generates enough income for livelihood and to educate her children. It is thanks to the handicraft training she got.
Il y a une association des aveugles du Cameroun qui est venue à Bafang pour aider les handicapés à surmonter leur handicap.
While the government is yet to enforce laws protecting its citizens living with disabilities and granting them jobs, this handicapped woman, who is absolutely independent, by example, encourages other persons living with disabilities to start up an income-fetching activity to keep life moving.
Je suis combattue jusqu'à la dernière énergie par les membres de ma famille qui ne cessent de me demander de sortir de la maison avec cet élevage.
In another example, speaking volumes of the fact that persons living with disabilities can also be useful, can also be productive, can also contribute to nation building. We take you to Penja in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the country, where Hermini Luka is going to tell us the story of somebody living with disabilities, a 30-year-old lady, despite the challenges she's facing because of her disabilities. She is financially viable and independent. Hemin.
Unlike other physically challenged persons, Kaji Danielle Letitia's visual impairment is not a hindrance to her daily lifestyle. Born this way and today an orphan, she remains very confident.
Je ne regrette pas mon handicap d'être ce que je suis.
I don't regret being a handicap. I was born this way and my parents are no more.
Papa et maman n'y sont plus.
Being an orphan, she depends solely on herself, as this explains her multitask nature.
Je faisais des yaourts locales.
I used to do yogurt. I trade egusi and starch, but as at now, the business has dropped because I was seriously sick and have no more funds.
Tellement malade que je n'ai plus de fonds.
But with a high rate of persons with disabilities turning beggars, 30-year-old Kaji Letitia is against the usual misery lifestyle of physically challenged persons.
Il y a beaucoup de choses que nous pouvons faire. Pour dire vrai,
I am against my brothers who are physically challenged who go about begging. It doesn't help them.
dès lors que je suis sortie de la maison, j'ai compris que je pouvais faire beaucoup de choses.
Conscious of their suffering, some locals do believe they should be given assistance by the state. What I think is that if the government gave them opportunities, it would be good, rather than have them turn beggars. Nonetheless, they could be physically challenged, but they remain humans with lots of talents to showcase to the society.
Fishing in Cameroon's territorial waters remains an activity largely dominated or dominantly practiced by foreigners, and this is why the government of Cameroon is stepping up the training of professionals in that domain. Close to 100 of them recently graduated from the Limbe Nautical Art and Fisheries Institute. Details with Davidson Maimo.
It is the first graduating batch from the Limbe Nautical Art and Fisheries School. 71 in number, these young Cameroonians are graduating with a diploma in university technology, marine engineering, industrial fishing and navigation. Dr. Eta Collins Ayok is the director of the school.
22 industrial fishing and navigation students that have just started. Those are the people that will harvest the fish in such a way that we will fish today and for tomorrow. We have 25 marine engineers. Those who take care of the efficiency and the functioning of the various fishing vessels and the ships. We have those who are going to conserve the materials. As such, the resources, when they reach your table, on the consumer's table, they will be very safe.
This Lone State Professional Academic Center in the country has as objective to train young Cameroonians to take over the fishing sector, which is largely dominated by foreigners. Created in 2015 through a presidential decree, the school is yet to be totally furnished to meet its international standard.
We need some STCW facilities. We need a standard swimming pool. We need a firefighting facility. We need our vessels to be functional around the clock.
The graduation ceremony was presided at by the Minister of Fisheries and Animal Industry, Dr. Tiger, who assured the school administration, teaching staff and the students of government constant support in making the school the best in Africa.
And that's it for today's edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Thanks, dear viewers, for staying with us. Goodbye.